Summary of Successful Negotiating. Letting the other person have your way. By Ginny Pearson Barnes, Ed.D. What negotiation is not. Negotiation does not mean confrontation. Negotiating means resolving a disagreement by means of trust, communication, and a belief in a process of exchange. Here are some key facts you must understand about negotiating. Negotiating is not always neat or nice. Once you accept that, you can find the inner strength to push toward what you want. Negotiating is not a game or a war. Games have rules and you know in advance what you need to do to win. That may not be true in real life. Rules, risks and rewards change. Be flexible. Negotiating is not about egos. Cooperate. Work together. Your goal is to leave the negotiation with a better relationship. Negotiating is not about perceptions. The challenge is to understand the other person's thinking. Try to see things from the other person's point of view. Understanding motivations. Everyone has three important higher-order needs: to be loved and valued, to be in control and to have sound self-esteem. When these needs go unmet, emotional reactions are normal. When you respond emotionally, you may choose unproductive behaviors. You can respond to emotion in a negotiation by retaliating, dominating, or isolating. These are usually unproductive. You could also respond with a more productive behavior, coopera, tie-on. When emotions run high, reframe or look at the problem in a new way. When emotions block progress, try to define the problem, share your feelings, state what you want or prefer, and suggest an ideal outcome. Express your feelings objectively. Attack the problem, never the person. Use the negotiation to build a relationship. Always create a positive environment. Celebrate differences. Negotiating means asking for something in the context of a relationship. Relationships change throughout life. We go from dependence to independence to the most adult of all relationships, interdependence. Interdependent people in a negotiation empower the other side by showing honesty and openness. Careful communications. Keep logic and emotions in balance. Communicate openly. Remember the 4Cs of communicating: be clear, comprehensive, calm, and caring. How you speak is as important as what you say. Body language is far more important than words. It includes your voice pitch, intonation, gestures, eye contact, proximity, and facial expression. Body language communicates how much power you have in the situation, how much you like the other person, and how responsive you are to the person. Remember the importance of body language with the soften technique. Smile. Open your body posture, don't cross your arms or turn your back. Forward lean, this communicates interest and willingness to listen. Touch, a handshake is the appropriate touch in the workplace. Eye contact, making eye contact says you are trustworthy. Nod frequently, but don't overdo it or you will look silly. Certain specific words escalate conflict. Avoid you, which points a finger of blame at the other person. I prefer that we talk calmly, is better than you have to calm down. But is negative and sours the negotiation. Say something positive and use and rather than but to add criticism. Can't means you won't change. It makes negotiation appear hopeless. People dislike always and never accusations. When you say should have and ought to have, you're being manipulative and bossy. Listen actively. Listen more than you talk. Show that you are interested in what the other person is saying. Ask questions for clarification. Don't jump to conclusions, wait to respond. Listen for ideas, not just for words. Let go of your own worries. Notice the other person's body language. Do your homework. Prepare yourself mentally and emotionally to understand the other person and yourself. Avoid assumptions, know the subject of the negotiation, and focus on each person's main interests. You can learn about the other party by asking other people and checking with sources like publications and speeches. When you sit down to learn the other person's needs, you can ask two kinds of questions. Open-ended questions produce open-ended information. You can also ask yes or no questions. Use these to pin down the other party and to find points of agreement. Get as many yeses as you can. Focus on people's interests, not their positions. To understand interests, ask for objections, listen to them, acknowledge them, and classify them. The main categories of objections are smokescreen objections, which are phony and hide real issues, knee-jerk objections, which some people give because they think they need to have lots of objections when they negotiate, emotional objections, which arise if people feel threatened or disliked, and real objections, which will form the heart of your collaboration. Negotiate actively, honestly, and fairly. In any negotiation, there are 7 strategies that you can choose from. You can use them in combinations, just like you can use layers of clothing or sweaters. The 7 sweaters of negotiation are: 1. Ignore or deny. Use this to avoid issues that don't pertain to whatever you're negotiating. But don't ignore feelings, including your own. 2. Suppress. Biting your tongue. Only do this for short periods of time. 3. Leave. You can leave for a short time and then return, leave for a long time and then return, or just leave. The next 4 sweaters involve power, authority, and knowledge. Power is influence and your effect on others. It is not status or title. Sometimes people with lowly titles have great power and influence because they can affect others. Authority comes from your company. Knowledge is what you have learned. 4. Placate. Use this when you recognize the other person's PAK. 5. Dominate. Use this when you have control of the outcome. You can dominate when you have PAK. Dominance is good in a crisis. Don't dominate when others have PAK or when you don't have it. 6. Compromise. This is essential when you both have PAK. 7. Collaborate. Use a team effort at every level. Everyone involved must have PAK. To decide which strategy works for you, ask yourself whether you or others have PAK. How much do you trust each other? How well do you communicate? Negotiating stages. Once you've decided which sweater to wear, keep in mind that negotiations go through 7 stages. 1. Define the problem. Focus on the other person's interest, not his or her position. 2. Look for common ground. Focus on mutual interests, this reinforces your relationship. 3. Realize that multiple interests are at work. 4. Look for solutions, not the problem. 5. Focus on the benefits for both sides. 6. Decide on a time to evaluate and make decisions. 7. Reinforce commitments after you've agreed. Remember to stay principled. By focusing on the interests of both parties, you help to build your relationship through the negotiation. Be honest. Don't give in just to be liked. Be reliable and trustworthy. Don't radically change your position to throw the other person off guard. Don't expect others to compromise just because you are willing to compromise. Negotiating with naysayers. Negotiations are not always easy or nice. Sometimes the answer is no. Never take a no personally. Have backup plans and options ready at all times. Suggest a postponement if need be. When negotiations are going against you, remember to thank the other person for his or her effort. 3 magic phrases that help do that are: I respect, I appreciate, and I agree. Some people are simply difficult, obnoxious personalities. They often set you up to fail so they can build their own self-esteem. It is often useful to interrupt a difficult person's harassment to change the subject or start a new discussion. You can detour, which means leaving the subject for a short time and then coming back. You can make a joke or step out for coffee. This will divert attention from the obstacles you face. You can interrupt by doing something to stop the other person in his tracks used at the wrong time, though this can weaken your position. You can also use the broken record technique. Repeat what behavior you have a problem with and what you want in place of it. Keep careful records of your negotiations with difficult personalities. If all else fails, go to mediation or arbitration. Satisfaction. Satisfaction is a continuum. There is short-term and long-term satisfaction. It is your job to enjoy successes, learn from failures and cope with outcomes in the middle. Sometimes not winning leads to a better outcome in the long run. There are 4 stages of satisfaction. 1. Immediate reward, or instant satisfaction. It's rare to get what you want right away, so when you do, treat it as a gift. 2. Delayed reward or delayed satisfaction. Sometimes you get what you want after you keep asking for it. This takes patience. This is how most of us experience satisfaction. 3. Different reward, or adjusted satisfaction. The outcome often isn't what you wanted. It could be better or worse than you expected. Even if it's worse, you need to find satisfaction in the outcome. 4. Rejected reward, or acceptance satisfaction. You will lose in the negotiation, but you find satisfaction in your ability to accept the outcome and live with disappointment. You move on to find satisfaction elsewhere in life.